Welcome to Seaway Whisky Wire. Tonight it's story time. We're going to talk about my experience going down to the GTA for the exclusive Glenfarclas tasting. Stick around. Lots of cool stuff happened when I was there. Hey, thanks for coming back after the intro, guys. I'm Tyler, and with Seaway Whisky Wire, and like I said, we're going to talk about me going down to the GTA to take part in this really awesome Glenfarclas exclusive tasting. And it was really to kind of celebrate the relaunch of a bunch of their product lines in Ontario. Yeah, I can get right into it. So it was all by really happen chance that I even got to go to this thing. I'm not going to get into the story because it's a kind of a cool story altogether, but for the sake of time, I'll just kind of keep you at that. If you're ever out and see me in public and you want to hear it, I can definitely tell it to you. Anyways, needless to say, I managed to connect with the agent importer for Glenfarclas into Ontario, and had a wonderful conversation with Mr. John Hanna. You're actually going to see an interview with him coming up shortly on the channel as well, that I took when I was there in Toronto. But yeah, one thing led to another, and he offered me an invitation to come down and sit and enjoy some of the Glenfarclas products that were at relaunch. What was at the relaunch, you might ask? Well, I was pretty excited to say the least. So the 15-year-old was there, the 25-year-old Glenfarclas was there, the 30-year-old Glenfarclas was there, the 35-year-old Glenfarclas was there, and capping off the experience was the Glenfarclas 40-year-old. So here in the Seaway, it was a pretty long drive. It was about 2.5 hours to get from my place to here in the Seaway into Oshawa to take the train in and get there for a lovely lunch on a Tuesday. And you know what? I do it 50 times over. That's how good it was. So as the video goes on here, I'm gonna probably plug some pictures here and there. I'm gonna plug some video of me just so you can kind of see the whole experience and kind of how I went from the Seaway into the GTA to get into this. So story really begins with getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and taking off to the GTA from the Seaway. Still dark out and all that kind of stuff. All right, everybody, it's 5:30 in the morning. Just getting ready to head out. Should be heading towards the gym, but no, we're heading to the GTA for a pretty cool exclusive Glenfarclas tasting today. So I got to hit the road. Next, drove into Oshawa, which is about a 2-hour drive, or 2.5-hour drive, almost 3 hours from where I am here, through a little bit of snow as well. But anyways, all right, made it to Oshawa. Quick change, parked the truck, gonna hop on the train and head into the city. I took the train in, which is about an hour long, into the GTA, right into downtown Toronto, into Union, and then over to a place called the Chef's House on George Brown College. Place is excellent. Excellent venue, very close in downtown proximity. Food was excellent. I'll get into all that kind of stuff. But yeah, got in there to the chef's house, and yeah, had a nice little arrangement downstairs there. The folks at John Hanna and Sons got that all set up for us there. Got to meet Ian and a bunch of other folks from the press that were down there to just review and sample and talk about Glenfarclas. Very nice room we were in there as well. Everything was laid out. The room was like a basically a nice dining room, but it wasn't super big. There was probably room for about 15 people. And Ian and his wife had the Glenfarclas poured and airing in the room there prior to everyone getting in. And I'm telling you, the smell going into this dining room was just unreal. Like, this 12 is got a nice smell to it, but I mean, I'm telling you, it was like knock your socks off. Sherry and chocolate and caramel. It was unreal. I was so excited just to get in there. So yeah, we got to meet everybody. Ian started off the night with a video presentation from Glenfarclas. I'll put the link to the video in the description. You can check it out yourself. It's about 20 minutes long, but I mean, it tells you everything you need to know. It's some really cool stories about Glenfarclas. If you're not too familiar with Glenfarclas and the direct fire stills and the maturation process and the Grant family that owns it, this is a great video to watch. I definitely encourage you to go and check that video out. And after the video was done, Ian just kind of said to everybody, look, we're going to have lunch served in a bit here. Take your time and go around the table and to talk amongst yourselves and enjoy the whiskey and just have a great time. Like, I couldn't believe that he had just opened it up to us like that. So wasn't allowed to film in the room, but I did make some notes. I got my notebook right here with all the information. So I'm just going to kind of go through each expression and tell you my thoughts and opinions on it, and then we can kind of reflect on that, because it was just one of these experiences of my life that, you know, from a whiskey journey perspective, I'm never going to forget it. It was just such a wonderful day. The food was great, the whiskey was excellent, and the people were phenomenal. I had such a great time. I would do it 100 times if I could. So first thing I tried was the 15-year-old Glenfarclas. So it comes in at 46% ABV and about $175 for the bottle. The color was really nice golden straw, and the nose was reminiscent of the 12-year-old, but kind of like amped up. And the 46% is interesting. It's the only expression in the Glenfarclas line that's 46%. And the reason being is, if you watch my Glenfarclas 12 video, you know this already, but that's how Mr. Grant liked it, and that was the best kind of expression of it, was at 46%. And I really enjoyed that 15. I've had it before, and it was excellent. So on the nose, I got dates, both kinds of raisins, so golden raisins and red raisins. Got the butterscotch notes and the burnt caramel notes, much like the Glenfarclas 12-year-old, but just very much higher. Burnt caramel notes as well were on there, and some nice vanilla. On the taste, there was the flavor of dates, apples, vanilla, honey, both kinds of raisins again, that distinctive burnt caramel taste that I kind of refer to as the Glenfarclas funk, caused by those direct fire stills. And then very much heavy on Christmas spices, much heavier than this. If you like the spiciness of this, you would love the Glenfarclas 15, no doubt. Finish was long and sweet, really much more, I would say, medium to long finish against the rest of the core. But yeah, no bitterness and very mouth coating. I love it, and I'm gonna definitely buy a bottle of the 15 at $175. It was excellent. Next we got into was the 25-year-old. So the 25-year-old comes in at 43% ABV, just like the rest of the core range, except for the 8. The 8's, well, we can't even really get the 8 in Ontario, so can't really count the 8 anyways. But yeah, 43% ABV. Color was deep golden wheat. It was a little bit more darker than what you would see in the Glenfarclas 12 or the 15. Nose was apples and raisins, burnt caramel notes again, sweet vanilla cookie or shortbread. I really got that on there as well on the nose. You didn't get that kind of butterscotch note. I think it was more replaced by that vanilla cookie note. The taste was full sherry, like full on sherry bomb note. Almost like deeper sherry than a Glenfarclas 105, and not as punchy, but the flavor was full-bodied sherry. Just the golden raisins on this one, caramel notes, vanilla, Christmas cake, and mulled wine. And mulled wine was something different, but I think it was kind of more so that like if you took the Christmas cake and you took the sherry influence and smashed them together, that's kind of what I was getting. Finish was long and sweet and very mouth coating. I even got a little bit of cinnamon candy on the back end of it as I sat there and kind of chatted with some of the other folks there. You know, like those hard cinnamon candies that you would suck on. Very, very, very good and very complex for a 25-year-old. But we got more going on to the 30-year-old. 30-year-old came in at 43% ABV as well. And the color was what I would say was a deep amber. And it was very much darker than the 15 and the 25. I got those on the notes. I got the dates. I got candied sweetmeats, so like what you would use to make like a fruitcake. Raisins. The butterscotch had come back. It was much more custardy notes, like creamy creme brulee, sweet cream notes on the nose as well, and a little bit of licorice at the end. I got very, very good. Taste wise, came in with some candied oranges. There was some golden raisins in there as well. Caramel, vanilla, and Christmas cake again. The finish was long, and you had that sweet sherry note in there as well. And this is where I started to get the chewy, almost cream-like texture in my mouth with it as you add that age. The thing that's kind of interesting too about the 30-year-old is that Glenfarclas funk, that burnt caramel kind of piece from the direct fire, it was completely gone in my opinion. 35-year-old was the next one on my list and came in at 43% ABV. It came in a deep amber red hue to it, and on the nose, raisins, candied sweetmeats, that rich butterscotch had come back in, with Christmas cake and vanilla, burnt caramel, rich sweet cream. And this is going to be a note I'll get on this and the 40-year-old. It was almost, it was very like latte like, very sweet, almost like just like a sweet creamy latte, if like the top of a latte almost, if you can get that in there. Yeah, the finish was very, very long. There was no bitterness. Sweet sherries, Demerara syrup, very rich, and again that rich creamy mouthfeel, that rich cream. It was unbelievable, but not as unbelievable as the 40-year-old. And I actually got to sample the 40-year-old a couple of times, and I was so thankful for Ian and the group with John Hanna and Sons for allowing me to have a couple samples of this 40-year-old. This 40-year-old bottle, well over $2,000, and definitely the most expensive Scotch I had ever personally tasted. So a big thank you to Ian again for him allowing us to partake in this and have a couple samples. So hats off to you, my friend. On to the 40-year-old, the star of the show. 43% ABV, again, had that deep amber red hue to it. On the nose, candied sweetmeats, raisins, latte, bread pudding with maple syrup. And I mean, I'm telling you, it was definitely there and definitely prominent. Vanilla, creme brulee custard, and like, it's very, very sweet. Had that burnt note to it as well. That butterscotch too. So what it lost in the 30 and 35-year-old, it came roaring back in the 40. On the taste, dark chocolate. And I mean, this is the only one you'll get dark chocolate with. And I kind of, it's the 40-year-old, it's the sherry casks, and it's that direct fire creating that, I believe. And it is phenomenal. Very, very forward. Not a bitter dark chocolate, but just a very well-balanced dark chocolate with a high cocoa content. Candied fruits, caramel, vanilla, Christmas cake, rich sweet cream, and a little bit of vanilla cookie, almost shortbread-like at the end there. Unbelievable. Here's the one that I'll share with you that's interesting too, is the finish. So the finish is very long. Full-blown sherry, Demerara sugar, sweet cream, very mouth-filling, mouth-coating, and no bitterness whatsoever. I didn't make the notes in here, but I did share with my friend that I go to the gym with in the morning. So I left the GTA, went home, I ate between then and went to sleep, woke up the next day and went to the gym. I could still taste the 40 on me. It was fantastic. And it's not like a peaty, it's like peat where it hangs around. This is full, sweet, delicate, sherry, chocolate, latte, caramel, all just hanging out. So no, it was excellent. And I'm very thankful for John Hanna and Sons and Ian and his team for allowing me to come and do all that. Like I said, we also have an interview coming up, so stay tuned for that. I'd be reprieved from not saying that all of these expressions are now available at the LCBO, and they're all imported via John Hanna and Sons. So please go out, get some Glenfarclas, and support this local and family-owned company as well. And I appreciate them for that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. A little different than the average video I do, but I wanted to make sure I shared with you guys my experience. As you guys know, or most of you guys know, Glenfarclas is definitely my favorite Highland / Speyside distillery. So I was super tickled to get the invite. So that wraps up this video here. If you have any questions or comments or want to know more about the trip, please comment below. And if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whisky Wire, please like and subscribe. And check me out on Instagram. For those of you guys on Instagram already, you've already probably kind of saw my journey to the GTA, but you can check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whisky Wire. So I'll leave you guys with that. Stay tuned for my my interview and sit down with Mr. Ian Hanna of John Hanna and Sons. You're not going to want to miss that one. So all the best to you guys. Slàinte to your health, and go check out some Glenfarclas in your area if you can. Cheers.